There it is.
Hey,
All
hey.
right. Hey. So, wow. Welcome back to Regrettable Reviews.
It's been a hot minute.
Yeah. We took an extra week off to try and break the lineup for the show. You know, we have lots of shows, but only a couple of people that produce them, and only one person that edits them. So
Understandable.
we try and like shift it around so there's less overlap of the work. You know, sausage and all that.
Yeah.
We're always talking about how we make sausage around here.
And there it is. Getting right into it.
Yeah, today we're gonna do Waterworld. Was it 95?
Yeah.
1995.
Yes.
Yeah, 1995 Kevin Costner flick. And right out of the gate, I mean, I'd never seen this. Even
I
though
had
it
never
came out.
seen this either. But when you said the last time we streamed, you were like, "Oh, you're gonna watch Kevin Costner drink his own piss." I was not expecting that for that to be the very first thing that happens.
Opening scene.
Yep.
Opening scene. It's literally brought up on Roger Ebert's review of the movie. Is like
I didn't even.
he talks about action movies start with like you getting to know the character. Not this one. This one starts with him drinking his own
Them
pee.
drinking his own piss. Yeah.
I have questions about that, by the way. He's got this cool homemade chemistry set thing, right? And he can cycle it through and make his urine drinkable because it's not normally drinkable.
Unless you're Bear Grylls.
In an emergency, it'll sustain you for a little while.
Yeah.
Not long term. But why couldn't he do that with salt water? Is there something more impure in salt water than everything that your body passes out?
No, and I am gonna say that's a big fat plot hole.
Also, he has gills, and fish don't drink. They process the oxygen through their gills and get the hydration they need that way.
Yeah. There's a.
So is that a mutation he has or not has?
There's a lot here. Also, fascinated by the fact that he still has to avoid scurvy, apparently.
Yeah. Right? He has
he's
no
got-
idea why.
because
He's
he's got a
that
little
lime
lime
tree.
tree.
Yep.
Which,
No
like,
coconuts.
whatever. One thing I did kind of like, we're already past this, but I liked the Universal logo becoming the melting ice caps.
I know.
I
That was
thought that
really
was
well
cool.
done. Really well done. I didn't like the cheesy narrator thing.
Yeah.
It might as well have just done the decade earlier, right up until this point where they did the wall of text.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't want to explain the world to you, so read a short book and
Yeah.
then take everything else with a grain of salt.
I just, and another thing about this is, one, it kind of feels like we might be headed this way a little sooner rather than later.
Oh, I know. You watch this and you're just like,
don't like that. But,
I actually don't know if you melted all of the ice all over Antarctica and the North Pole and everywhere, if it would raise water this much, though.
it definitely wouldn't be good.
No. But, like, land
Yeah.
would still be very normal. It would,
For
I
the
don't
most
think
part.
there's enough water on this planet.
I think we just have really different coasts.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You know, like the coast would be on Ohio.
Yeah. I gotta say though, I thought the scrap boat was pretty cool. Like it fits.
His steampunk ramshackle boat thing. This is amazing.
Yeah.
As soon as, again, first time I watched it, as soon as a few things happened, I said, I want an open world action RPG
Yes.
where you play as him, or an MMO where you play as whatever type of trader you want to.
Yeah. This the Portuguese thing was weird.
Yeah, I don't. Why is that the
The lingua franca.
trade language?
Not a clue. But they established the sort of drifter code pretty quickly with the like, oh, we have to exchange
Yeah.
information or whatever. We have to trade. But I don't know.
I just don't get why this guy had to lie to him. He goes,
Yeah,
"Oh yeah,
and,
no,
like, for what?
I didn't board your boat while you're gone. That would be bad." I did board your
Stole-
boat. I got your
stole
lines.
his limes.
Yeah, but like, why bother with the lie?
Who knows? I will say, for pretty much all of this. I really, really liked the score.
Oh, the music in this. There's a few things it reminded me of. I'm trying to remember what they are without having it on. It's hard. I know there's a line in the music that to me sounds like the opening to Suicide is Painless, the MASH theme. Mm-hmm. It sounds like that to me. And then there was something else that the music sounded like to me. Oh, very Stargate. But instead of having like an Egyptian theme to it just being more like just neutral.
Yeah.
It's the pattern to the music. I watched a lot of Stargate.
That's fair.
The pattern to the music is nearly identical to the Stargate theme.
I mean, sure, I'll buy that. I don't really know anything
not far
about
off
Stargate.
Jurassic Park, and well, guess what? There's a Stargate movie, so we can do that sometime.
It's my turn this week.
I know.
I think the world building is very, very interesting, and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, but like the scrap boats, we have a floating city with like, dirt is now valuable. That kind of makes sense because you do have to grow things.
Yeah, right. At first I had trouble with that. Like, why would dirt be valuable? And then I was like, oh yeah.
Because you gotta grow food.
Yeah. Although he cheats and gets, which we get to later.
Yeah, but I do love this boat.
It's so cool. That reveal, by the way, when he just like flips the switch and the sail comes shooting up and it's a massive sail. He just
that was
takes
awesome.
off. That's genius.
This must have been a logistical fucking nightmare.
It was the most expensive movie at the time.
Up until Titanic. Yeah, I was skimming the trivia today and I saw that. But I just, oh my god.
If I may interject, that floating like atoll set sank at least once.
Yeah. I'm not shocked.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the whole idea of the floating cities, it
Yeah.
makes sense. Well, you'd have to have somewhere to like centralize.
Yeah.
Although we see Dennis Hopper's giant Exxon Valdez.
It took me forever to realize that was Dennis Hopper, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I guess I just never had seen him like bald before in a movie.
Oh.
And I kept being like, man, he looks really familiar. Who is that? And then I was like, oh my god, Blue Velvet.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, and also, this was one other bit of world building that didn't quite land as well for me. Was the smokers thing? All right, fine, but like calling water hydro, that was fucking stupid.
It's such a cheesy 80s sci-fi set on a non-Earth planet thing. Does that make sense?
Why you are surrounded? Well, I guess because like the sea versus like actual drinkable water. There's probably.
Oh, you know what? That makes sense. Why you wouldn't just call it water?
That kind of makes sense, but also like make it sound better. I thought the name for the currency was really stupid.
Chits?
Yeah, I thought that was dumb as shit.
Standard fare for like. It's another one of those like call them credits or anything you want. It's like you didn't feel like coming up with something.
Exactly.
Leaving this guy to die, by the way, not fair. He stole your limes and he lied to you.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
But you're literally leaving him to die and restocking the Raiders with all that stuff. You just gave your limes to the Raiders.
Yeah. Oh, one of the other things I thought was cool was that like Kawasaki provided a bunch of custom jet skis for this movie.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's hilarious. Yeah, all the things I saw about the trivia were mostly focused on like this shit cost a lot of money.
It did cost a lot of fucking
The
money.
atoll
And
sank.
I'm not surprised that it did because again, fucking look at this shit.
I mean,
like,
it's so well done.
That's the weird thing about this is that like the scope is fucking incredible. Like I could not get over it the entire time I was watching this. I was like, I am pretty anti-Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point in my life.
Yeah.
The fact that like the amount of effort that used to have to be put into what wound up kind of being schlock.
Yeah.
Like even then, or like even the schlock of this era had to be handmade with like dedication and craftsmanship.
Love and care.
Love and care. You had to hand make your fucking schlock with love and care, and I miss it.
Just the details.
Yes, it's incredible. So like, even at the points where I was like,
I didn't notice the windmill.
Yeah.
That's a
even
cool
at the
touch.
points where I was like, the plot's kind of weak, or like the dialogue isn't great, whatever, I was still just in fucking awe that this was made. Because this is just like, the scale is fucking nuts.
Yeah. I love the net between the pontoons, so that he can fall on it and stuff, and get around quicker.
That is called a trimaran.
I was wondering, because I was like, that's why I said pontoons, because I was like, I don't know what a 3-pontooned catamaran is called.
It is a trimaran.
Okay. There's another piece of trivia for you.
There you go. Yeah, I'm like looking at this like atoll city again, and I continue to just be in awe.
Oh, and the way they just like have that organic sledge that they just.
But again,
sludge.
Can't waste shit.
It makes sense. Probably great organic matter for growing. Like you can see the roots of the trees. I'd never noticed that either.
Yeah.
Are going right into it. That's brilliant.
Yeah. This whole thing is so wild.
Oh.
Him trying to walk in the ski boots was really funny as well.
What's the? He grabbed him because just everything is worth something.
Yeah.
He's like a little Gobald. Wow. I was gonna say goblin or kobold, but I said Gobald.
Nicely done.
A goblin merchant just traveling along, picking up pebbles and then trying to sell them to people.
But the dry land thing, as far as more future lingo. All right, fine, what fucking ever. I'll give you that one. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we're so far removed. I'm gonna get ahead in the movie here.
That's the thing.
We're so far removed that they don't really know if dry land is real.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're so far in the future that sea creatures have evolved to get bigger, which makes sense. They would.
Yeah,
over millennia. But
that's my thing. Like, they're really pushing it with the timelines here, but again, it's a movie. But I mean, even your current day goldfish, if you put it in a really big bowl, will get really fucking big.
Yeah.
So of course, if the ocean expands,
and there's less things polluting it and predating.
Yeah. So
predating,
I think the world building honestly is one of the better things here. As much as some of the lingo I can kind of take or leave. They followed, rational chains of speculation to create what we see on screen.
Right.
Is, I guess, the best way I would explain it. I was thinking about this the whole time. Kevin Costner, I don't know how I feel about him.
So for me, he's been in just literally anything. That if you've seen a movie from 1985 all the way up through today, or a TV show, you've seen Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
There's no getting outside of Kevin Costner. But he seems to be the same character. He's not a character actor. He's a Kevin Costner as this person.
He really isn't acting here all that much, which I suppose is fine for this sort of taciturn loner that they make this character out to be.
But that's Kevin Costner. Have you seen Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
I have not.
Okay, he plays Robin Hood. It's this, but it's Robin Hood. He's just Kevin Costner. And 9 times out of 10, it fits and it's good. And then every now and then you're just like, well, that could have gone differently.
Yeah, I wish that, again, I was just like, yeah, okay, it's just this guy. I wish he had felt like more of a character TM.
So this is compared a lot to being Mad Max at the high seas, right?
Literally, my last note is just wet Mad Max.
Heyo. That's where we need the squelch or the squish.
No.
There it is. Wet Mad Max. No, but my problem is Mad Max has a backstory. We understand his problem. This guy, we never actually get a backstory. When the little girl finds the crayons and she starts coloring and he gets upset about it, I want that to be a backstory of he also... That would make it very much literally Mad Max. But
still,
you sympathize with the character more.
You give him depth. He has none, and I really don't like it. Also, this is just a minor complaint, on more of a personal level. I don't think Kevin Costner is particularly attractive, and I wish that this guy was hot.
No, I don't want him to be hot because he's supposed to be like this grizzled, stuck out in the ocean all day.
But you can be grizzled and hot.
Not stuck out in the ocean 24/7 for your whole life.
I suppose.
But
I don't know. I would have liked something to look at.
The character they don't make us sympathize with. The character would make so much more sense if he just turned on them and joined Dennis Hopper. There is nothing about this character that ever makes me believe that he's going to go, especially the part where he goes back to rescue the little girl later.
Also,
impractical.
Who tattooed a child?
Oh no, that's established at the end of the movie.
No, yeah, I know, but
Her
like,
parents were dying, so they tattooed locations to dry land and sent her out to sea so that someone would find her that could raise her and come back to dry land with her.
again, you couldn't have thought of another way.
There were
Other
no other
than
people. Everyone else is out at
But other
sea.
than tattooing your child.
Yeah, it seems like you might have been able. Well, no, because paper is very rare, even for they wouldn't have a way to process it on
Fabric.
the island.
You could sew it into fabric.
But it could sew it into fabric.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't know how fast they were dying, or what they were
I
dying
suppose.
from. They came down with dengue fever, and they're going
Yeah.
to die within 24 hours. I don't have time for that project. I can spend 15 minutes tattooing a 3-year-old and then putting her in a boat and sending her out to sea.
This is such a bizarre fucking movie.
It is very bizarre. I feel like I say this a lot with movies. I want them stripped into 2 separate movies. One that focuses on this part of it, and one that focuses on that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we should get, a reboot called The Mariner.
Ooh.
Or not a reboot, a follow-up that's
Yeah.
a prequel. That's a chapter 1 for him.
Oh, also this shit, like, I understand why, like, diversifying your breeding population would be important in, like, floating isolated cities, but also, ew.
Oh, yeah. They're like, hey, we need you to drop a deposit
Yeah.
and do what?
She looks like
fairly
she's...
young, but probably adult, right? Hopefully.
I would hope, but, like, freshly.
Like, yeah, we're talking in the barely legal range.
But yeah, and then the reveal of the fact that this guy has gills, which, again, they're blowing through it with the timelines. Like, how long would it actually take for humans to evolve those? For fucking ever.
I mean, like, it's impractical that it would ever happen.
Yeah.
Because to evolve the gills, we'd have to rudimentarily breathe the water, and then our body would adapt a new way to do it.
Yeah.
Also, the size of the gills for the size of the creature, they
Yeah.
wouldn't be very functional. He couldn't do what he does.
No, that's ridiculous.
Gills that size, just like behind the slit of your ear here,
No.
I could see him with those being able to hold his breath for, call it an hour or
Yeah.
something, because he can breathe through those. But he just can't process enough for his body to get enough oxygen.
No. You gotta go the, like, fucking... This is technically a spoiler, but whatever. The fucking, like, Shape of Water route. Or
Oh,
that
I haven't
even.
seen Shape. I was thinking The Boys, The Deep.
I haven't seen The Boys.
Oh, he's got gills, but they're like under his ribs. There's like 4 on each side. Like
That makes so
under
much...
his rib.
Yeah. That makes...
And
And again, he could hide that.
Literally built right into his lungs. It makes sense. That's practical.
Like, he could still, like, he has this vest thing. He could still be keeping that his secret. Again, logistically, this is so fucking impressive. You shot a fight scene underwater? Hello?
I want to say there was a fact about Kevin Costner almost drowning multiple times during making this movie.
That does not shock me even a little bit.
Right. And that they doing the shots with him underwater and having to do it where you don't see him exhaling any bubbles.
Yeah.
I wonder how many reshoots there were for that.
So fucking
It
many, I would
has to be,
imagine.
where it's like, oh, sorry, you just sort of like let your layer out.
Well, because, especially with this, because you can't... Or it would be... This was an era where it was hard. Like, if there's a couple little bubbles, we can scrub it out digitally. It's like, no, we gotta get this right.
Yeah. It would have been even more time-consuming and expensive.
Yeah.
I like this guy that defended him. He's like, yeah, he killed a guy, but the guy attacked him, so it's all good. And they're like, that doesn't matter. He's a mutant. We're going to melt him.
Yeah.
Point out Rob's comment that he said whales evolved to go back in the ocean and still haven't redeveloped gills.
Yeah, there, see?
That's nuts. I fucking love whales.
Yeah. So the idea that we would develop eels ever,
Yeah,
much
ridiculous.
less, I think this is supposed to be set in 2500, give or take.
Something like that. I assumed, because they say they've say like hundreds of years or something,
Yeah.
and like at first I was like, oh, it's ridiculous that they would forget about the notion of land, but you can lose an entire language in like 2 generations.
Yeah, and so that's literally what would happen here. You're
So,
talking about
like,
3, 4, 5 generations.
That kind of does track.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, I was looking at this. The IMDb crowd rated this a 6.3, and Rotten Tomatoes, it's got a 43% on...
That's a little harsh.
Yeah, I feel like the reality is somewhere between those. But what did you think about this movie?
Again, like, this is one of those things where, like, you hear about it being like, oh, this is fucking unwatchable. Everyone knows that this is an unwatchable movie. And I'm just like, it's not that bad. Oh,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this old man's accent, by the way?
don't know.
I hated it. I hated every second of it. Apparently that's fucking Mr. Noodle from Sesame Street.
Oh, there's so many people in this that are in other stuff that I gave up trying to even keep track of the people that you know is better. Kevin Costner, you know, is Kevin Costner. Dennis Hopper, you know, is Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
That lady I know is Alex from Criminal Minds.
I know that the kid
Oh yeah, is Deb from
Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah. When did she get hot?
Recently?
'Cause, like I saw the IMDb here. I'll just pull it up. I'll show you. Deb.
No, I think I know what you're talking about. Like
that pic. Look at her. She's so like. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Like established, like proper,
yeah.
and it's just like.
I mean, they make her look
Stunning.
like a fucking dork in Napoleon Dynamite for a reason. Everyone in that movie's a dork. John
Right.
Heder isn't like unattractive.
No. Yeah.
They just make him look like a fucking idiot in that movie.
And he's always like doing the thing with his mouth. Anyway, yeah. So what would you say on a 10 scale here?
For personal enjoyment, rewatchability, I would say this is maybe like a 5 or a 6. I was really impressed the whole time. Just like, wow, they like thinking about the effort that had to be put into this. Like, wow, they had to do that. Like, they had to go out and film in open water and all this shit. Like, that blew me away. Especially like when we get to the kind of like some of the action, the more like really fast action sequences. There were some things in here where I was just like, holy shit, this is incredible.
Oh my god, there's some details they put in here. Yeah.
So
That would definitely, I agree.
you know what?
6
I'm
for
gonna say
rewatchability.
6 or maybe even 6.5, 6 or 6.5. I don't know. I don't know how.
It's hard to
exact
say
we
like, the
wanna
difference.
get
No,
here.
no, it's somewhere between those. I understand, and I agree. That's where I feel about its rewatchability.
For what it does for like the genre, I don't know. Honestly, like a 4.
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna say
really
5, but
not-
really it's not.
It's not doing anything
Nothing new.
new.
It's literally
just,
Mad Max.
It's just the biggest attempt at
Yes.
this particular flavor of post-apocalyptic Earth, or at least it was the, biggest attempt at the time.
Yeah, I like that we skip over how the ice caps melted. I like that we skip over what the immediate response to everything was, and we're 500 years in the future. We don't even get that from the narrator.
Yeah,
I
'cause,
like that.
I'm sure that there's so many other examples of like fiction from around the same time, a little before, a little after, where it's like, oh yeah, the ocean's rising and now the world is different. It's really nothing new. This is just like they tried to do it on the biggest scale possible that people could think of at the time.
I want to say one thing that dings it for me on like what it does for film as a whole is the inconsistencies,
Yeah,
the logic here. Somehow
it's really not.
he has
great.
to have a battery-powered boat that also has gigantic wind sails to move fast, but Dennis Hopper has a fucking armada
Yeah,
of boats
of
and
jet skis.
jet skis that eat gas. And gas expires, by the way. And so what that they have an oil rig? How are they processing that into usable gasoline?
Yeah, there's a lot of plot holes here.
Like, I need them to explain that. Fine, don't tell me how the world got here, but explain how this shit
And
works,
here's the
or
thing,
don't have them using
even
Earth
explain
technology.
it like as hand wavy as possible. Like they find out how to
Yeah.
make some new resource into a usable fuel.
See, there's two different. This is why I'm saying it splits into two different movies.
Yeah.
This movie needs to not have so much gas powered, and the ammunition they all have, the
Yeah,
guns
they've
and
got
stuff,
fucking 50 cals.
and those are still working
Yeah.
hundreds of years later
Yeah,
when no one is making them anymore.
yeah,
I want two movies. I want the movie where they do this stuff, and I want the movie with the guns and the oil, and them realizing they can refine oil and have gas again.
yeah. This is kind of giving the dip from Roger Rabbit, by the
It
way.
is. Oh my god, it is. I was wondering. It made me think of something, but I couldn't put my head on it. And it doesn't hurt that it's like a neon green, the Soylent Green. You think they eat it?
I wouldn't know, because that's valuable biomass. You wouldn't want to waste that eating
Yeah.
it.
I don't know if it gets you the calories you need to stay alive.
But if you can use that to grow a plant, like a tree, like a fruit tree, that will provide you even more food than just that.
Yeah, if you have to. It's like using grain to feed cows.
Yeah, because cows will give you more food than, or like
They won't. They
More-
actually are less efficient.
they aren't or like efficient for the human body, I guess, because, like, protein, we need that shit.
Right. But, like, sustaining life, we
Yeah.
could sustain, I want to say it's like 500 to 1, like one cow could feed, they could feed 500 people with a grain to raise that cow.
Interesting. I'm not sure, but this shit blew me away. The jet skis and stuff,
It's
like
so good.
all the stunts they were doing. That shit, again, logistical nightmare. This shit is so cool.
The ramp thing is so cheesy, in my opinion.
It's so cheesy. It was
And
kind of
the-
fun though.
I
was impressed.
The skiers
Going underwater.
being pulled by the plane and going up
Oh,
over it,
yeah.
the water skiers. But yes, when they do that, you can actually do that with the jet
Oh, I'm
ski.
sure. I'm sure there's tons of people who can do like cool fucking stunts with that.
Yeah.
That's a whole job, stunt man.
Well, yeah. But my question is, like, how would they have discovered that talent?
Could not fucking tell you.
Like, oh, and later when they weigh them down, so they're under the water and they have like
That was
snorkels.
That was also cool as shit.
Genius. A very cool detail that was unnecessary, and you bothered to put it in.
And I always
Like
respect
he's
that.
just shoveling the 50 cal pounds up.
Yeah, some of this is just like, what the fuck, man? Yeah, how did I not recognize that as Dennis Hopper?
Unleaded doesn't exist, and that's why the smokers are all kind of tough.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
That makes sense. Oh, man.
Yeah, definitely some massive, massive plot holes here.
The girl doesn't swim, and it's like she never learned to swim.
That is the other
Oh,
thing
actually?
that I thought was the dumbest shit imaginable. How
just
is
realized.
anyone in this timeline, other than like a literal infant, unable to swim?
Because she was raised on land.
Again,
It
but
just occurred to me
but
that
how
was a
long?
foreshadowing
But how
she
long
really
was
had.
she here?
So how old would you say she's? Like 6 in this?
Yeah, something like that. They sent her
So-
off when she was.
Say 3-ish when they sent her off?
You can teach a child to swim in that time.
If you want to put the effort in.
Especially in this fucking world where
Well,
you have so
living on the
little of a
atoll.
choice.
And living in the atoll where you're a little bit safer than everywhere else.
Even then,
I think
if
that,
the middle of your city is water,
that's what I'm saying.
you should know how to fucking
Yeah,
swim.
if they were just on a boat, maybe don't teach her to swim. But because they're in the atoll,
Yeah.
I think that they should have. Although we don't know how long it took them to get here. Do they establish how long they've been here?
Not really.
Yeah.
Very little is concretely established here.
Gregor is just over here inventing dirigibles and stuff and not sharing that technology with everyone else.
Yeah, what the fuck was that about?
I don't get that. Like, I'm sure that technology is very useful in other ways, and you're
Yeah.
not sharing it.
Yeah.
This is why the world without modern society falls into a dystopia immediately, because everyone is greedy.
Always how it goes.
When all the rules of society break down, people will not be sharing technologies. They'll be using them to get what they need. That's so dumb. Pulling the jet skiers by a seaplane.
Yeah, that was kind of stupid, but it was cool to look at, and I'll give them that.
And when they try to fly the seaplane later, and it's landed on the deck of the Exxon Valdez there, and it's got the little tiny like trolley wheels on the bottom of the pontoons, that would not work.
No, not
The
even,
weight of that plane
not
would
even
be
a little bit.
like, and also that would probably hurt the structural integrity of the pontoons. So I'm surprised they didn't collapse. It's just dumb.
This is all just very odd. I never caught what he calls him, by the way, when he realizes he has like webbed feet as well. He calls him something sapiens.
Oh yeah.
I never caught what that was.
Did he say ichtha? They use that word a couple times, which just means fish in Greek.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody else called him like a muto.
That's annoying.
Like, wait, so mutants are so common, you already have slang for them, and ichthyosapiens, I'm going to assume is what he said,
Yeah.
are so common that you have a word for that, and you don't check when they first show up if they're those people,
Yeah.
but then you claim that he's probably the only one of his kind, and he's never met one of his kind.
This is all just so
Very
odd.
strange. It's a little inconsistent.
It's extremely inconsistent, but
Yeah. Still, very fun film.
yeah, I was never bored.
Take off, your judgment cap and just go into it with open eyes, and
Yeah.
it's very fun. It's an action film.
Yeah.
Don't try to pick apart the world building too much, especially when they do so good and there's just a couple inconsistencies.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just I think it was a smart move for him to use the smokers' like firepower to finish them off, That was smart.
Oh, when he harpoons and turns the boat.
Yeah.
And the 50 cal guy, for whatever reason, doesn't realize what's going on.
He's just too in the zone, man.
But, like, he's looking where the bullets are going.
Yeah, I know. I mean, again, maybe the unleaded gas not being a thing. Maybe that holds more water than we thought.
I couldn't tell, but like,
Holds
he had
water.
the goggles on. Oh, boo.
I'll see myself out.
Yeah, no. So much fun.
I want to swing around on sailboat ropes like he does.
Yeah.
That looks so much fun.
It's crazy how agile he is on his boat.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks good, and it looks like he did a great job practicing.
Yeah, I buy it.
Yeah, it looks real, is what I'm saying. Like, I believe that's possible.
Oh, yeah,
and
100%.
someone could train to do that and
Mhm.
bounce around like that. I believe it's not practical, which is why people don't do it standardly on a sailboat.
Yeah, I'm sure. But damn, it looks good in a movie. There's just so much happening here.
It's just this scene in particular is like insane. The assault of the atoll.
Yeah, again, I cannot even imagine trying to work things out to get like a call list or anything.
Mm.
God. Also, if the lock was that weak, could you not have just handled that like a little sooner?
Yeah. I don't know why he couldn't do it with a knife. She was able to do it with whatever she had, and it was just another chunk of metal lying around.
No idea. His hair looks so bad this whole time.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have him do it partially pulled back, like have his hair be partially pulled back, do it all the way, not just like this tiny little bit at the back and then having like the rest of his hair falling in his face all the time. I watched this with Kyle, and he informs me that apparently there was a time when the women were gagging for it.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I don't get it.
The Costner has watered quite a few worlds of his own.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, I don't see it. I don't get it. And maybe I'm just mean?
I mean, I never understand some of the people that are considered handsome. I just don't get it.
Yeah, that was one of the ones where I just...
He's
no.
fine. There's nothing wrong with him.
Yes,
It's like vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, that's right. People like vanilla ice cream, yeah.
This is true. But yeah, I mean, that's just a guy.
Yeah, he's very just above average to me.
Which, like, there's a lot to be said for the way we sort of, like, everyone in movies has to be so hyper attractive now, even just, like,
Yep.
people in the background, which, by the way, gonna name drop that essay again. Everyone is beautiful and no one is horny. But, I think we need more just some guying in
Yeah.
movies, but also at the same time, I kind of wish there had been, at least to my eye, a more attractive lead here. But again, that's also just me.
Yeah, as long as it carried something else with it, I would have liked that maybe. But
Yeah.
I couldn't think of new segment alert. We're doing a segment where we recast people in the movie.
That's the thing. I
and-
can't think of who I would want as...
I did think of somebody that
Did
I would
you?
want. I don't want them to be the Mariner because it would make things very awkward because it's called Mad Max the Sea. But what if Mel Gibson played Deacon? The bad guy
sure,
of this film.
That'll work.
I don't hate Dennis Hopper, but just like Kevin Costner to me, he's the same thing. No matter what the role calls for, it's just him.
And I'm sure that was the cocaine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just him ripped on cocaine.
I always
But-
forget that Dennis Hopper is like the massive piece of Hollywood and film history that he is.
Yeah.
Because the first movie I ever saw him in was Blue Velvet, and he's just like that. Or like by the time he had already done all of these like massive like, you know, history making things in Hollywood, he just essentially was Frank Booth.
Yeah. Just gave up
So-
trying to be anything else.
Yeah. But yeah, this looks like so much fun. I want to swing around on sailboat ropes all badass like that.
Oh, that's so funny. I only remember Hopper from Waterworld and Super Mario because I did I did a brief better known as, and for Dennis Hopper, I said obviously he's best known as Bowser in the absolute masterpiece, 1990s live action, 1992 live action Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Have not seen it.
I cannot wait to make you watch that for something. It's not sci-fi, so
Yeah,
we'll do it for something else.
figure
Well,
out-
Right?
Well,
No, they do have like a cyberpunk underground play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to shoehorn it in, I'm so
There's also
here for
Space
it.
Truckers. Dennis Hopper as the
it was 1993, by the way.
93. I was so close.
That's another thing. There are so many like actors who again have done like so much, who also just never turned down a fucking paycheck.
I feel like
Sir
that's Dennis
Michael
Hopper.
Caine being one of them.
Oh yeah, yeah. He doesn't say no to anything.
But the thing I love about Sir Michael Caine is that he never turns down a paycheck. He also never fucking phones it in,
No, he gives it everything to be the character he was meant to be for that scene.
which king shit.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. So that would be my only thing that I could see doing. If you put Mel Gibson in Deacon seat, you would have a much more believable
Oh, you
bad
know what?
guy. Not the leadership.
I'm going to
wise,
say
but-
something that's potentially controversial, or at least it's going to sound controversial at first. I don't think it is because I believe this man can do fucking anything. You know who should have give him a fucking crack at this? David Bowie.
as the Mariner.
Yeah, fuck
Oh,
it.
I could see
Why
that.
not?
I could see that,
He could do it.
and he's got like the thin, athletic
That's
body,
the thing. He
the type that works.
He looks very, or at least like at the time this would have been filming, he had that sort of like not like almost inhuman like attractiveness to him because he's just such an odd looking dude.
He really leaned into it on purpose too.
Exactly. But like, and also, have you ever seen the movie The Man Who Fell to Earth?
I probably have, but I don't.
Excellent fucking piece of science fiction, which if we ever want to get art house, we can do that.
Oh, I'm
But-
all for it.
David Bowie's an alien in that, and he sells it so fucking well because it was like the Thin White
in
Duke
that.
era, and he just fucking looks like that.
David Bowie is an alien in that. That man is not from this planet.
Oh no, and frankly, I think he was the glue that was holding reality together because look at what's happened since he died.
Yeah.
But let's not get into that. We
That's
don't-
for another show.
We don't have time.
Yeah. Yeah, so the director from this also did Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, which makes sense,
Oh, sure.
and Count of Monte Cristo. He did like a handful of other stuff, but those are the ones people are going to know him from. And those are great movies. This was very watchable. Like I said, 6.5, somewhere in there.
I will never fault anybody for like putting their back into something, swinging but missing.
Exactly.
I prefer that a million times to
Over the safe.
over just like
Copy.
soulless but safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that any day.
Yeah.
Jack Black is the fucking pilot in one of these scenes where like we're
He
getting
is?
we're getting way ahead of ourselves because this movie is so
That
long.
scene later is Jack Black?
When the pilot
This
like
would have been
attacked
1995. You would have been like very young.
he's like 20 something, but like when the pilot like attacks the Mariner's boat when they're just like out in the open ocean,
Yeah.
the pilot is Jack Black.
Are you sure?
I'm 100% certain.
Well, now I'm just going to go ahead and keep scanning through this. Oh my god. How did I miss that when I was scanning through? Because, I was looking at people with names. I
There you
picked a
go.
couple of random people that didn't have names because there's so many people without names. But I didn't pick pilot, and I skipped right over Jack Black, who you would know as Jack fucking Black.
I'm getting very sick of the celebrity voice actor trend a la Chris Pratt.
Ugh.
Jack Black can do whatever the fuck he wants forever.
These are his first roles, by the way. 1982, 84, 85.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, good
I
for
didn't
him.
know he went back that far. Isn't he from like Hollywood royalty or something? Like his mom is someone, is what I recall.
Oh, I don't know.
I also just saw him in Demolition Man, by the way. I don't remember seeing him in that movie, but I'll tell you,
Yeah, his mom is an actress.
I think his dad does something too, but whatever.
Some Nepo babies are valid.
Well, if they, have the talent, I don't mind using nepotism to get your child a spot on the stage to audition.
Yeah.
Forcing other people to deal with them if they're not talented, that's the problem.
Liza Minnelli. God tier Nepo baby.
Yeah.
Love her. Anyway. I do think...
Jumping boot tech. Yes, I know there's jumping boots.
Also, by the way, the fact that they were, like, about to just, like, fuck right then and there, she was like, oh...
She was trying to pay him to keep the... Oh, I had a note about this. They just established, once again, he has no concern for people.
Yeah.
He is returning the favor. They saved him. So he's letting them on the boat and saving them from being attacked by the raiders. And then immediately he's like, we don't have space for the kid. Throw the kid overboard.
Which, like, so valid. But,
Totally valid. I understand what he's... Like, it's very calculated, and he just did the math, and that's fine. But it never really establishes why he gives a shit later.
yeah. Not a clue.
She's my friend.
Shut up.
Later. Oh, my God. You guys did, like, one thing together. You taught her to swim. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, and he tries to sell her for half an hour.
Yeah.
That scene
Ew.
is so gross. When they meet up with the other trader.
Yeah, it's so
and
nasty.
the guy, he's like, I'll give you her for half an hour. And he goes, I'll take the wee one for 25 minutes. I was like, why are you still talking to him? Do you know how fast I would have killed that man?
No, 100%.
There would have been,
Next
like, no hesitation. Just cutting all of his parts off.
Yeah, no, not even a little bit.
I'll take 25 minutes with a wee one. That scene hurt. Ugh.
It's disgusting.
And he still lets him take her downstairs for 30 minutes and only decides to go stop it when she fights back.
Yeah, no, this...
So again, they're not establishing him as a good guy at all.
They really are not.
No redeeming qualities. Then the kid gets stolen. He's like, well, now the thing I've wanted this whole time has happened. I should probably do something about it.
Yeah,
It doesn't make any sense.
Plot-wise, they kind of just did whatever. And again,
And not to be mean to her, but she's not carrying the weight of the lead female hotness that we're used to in our standards. She's fine. She's very pretty.
yeah, I think she's pretty.
She's not, let me change my life goals for you.
Yeah. And again, maybe that's a little mean, but...
There's just truths, you know?
Yeah.
Facts is facts. Man, once you know that this girl is Deb,
I know, it's nuts.
you never unsee it.
Yeah, he's just so wooden.
Yeah, resetting it to a new beauty standard. The post-apocalyptic pretty.
You know what? Sure.
This is the pretty... Well, she's the prettiest woman in the movie. That's true.
There are very few attractive people in this, like even mildly attractive people in this movie.
Oddly enough, Kevin Costner is probably the handsomest man in the movie. Jack Black.
Yeah, okay, yeah, again.
He's covered up, though. You can't
Jack
really
Black
tell.
can
'cause
do
he's got,
whatever
like,
the fuck he wants
yeah.
forever.
Jack Black is my spirit animal. I
I
want...
think I remember this one
to
time
be
I was
everything.
watching fucking Q the Winged Serpent with Kyle because we were doing our Curated by Kyle month over on the Fighting with Friends stream. And I remember saying something along the lines of, man, I love how they used to just put fucking anybody in movies.
Yeah. They didn't used to need to use the same 4 actors. It was like, oh, is Benedict Cumberbatch doing something? All right. Downey? Robert Downey? No? Okay. Chris Pratt? Chris Pine? Chris Hemsworth?
Okay. Yeah, I got a question. What do we think Chris Pratt saw some Hollywood executive do to be handed all of these fucking franchises to keep him quiet?
I don't know.
I think he
has to have seen a murder.
I think he has probably seen some Hollywood executive like run over a child
Yeah.
with one of those like 9-foot tall trucks that should not be street legal.
Yeah. Because that's the only way he could be getting these roles.
Yeah. But yeah, they really kind of used to just put like anybody and everybody in movies, which was cool.
Overall, they mostly went for, who can actually act out the role the best.
Yeah.
Not who's the prettiest person that can kind of do it.
Yeah. Like, God, because this movie is so long, I'm gonna be getting so ahead of myself in the things that we're talking about.
Oh, we're never gonna go through the whole movie.
So, like,
please, just jump ahead. I already jumped ahead to oil tanker and all that
the
shit.
action sequences are fucking nerds.
Yeah.
I was very happy when he finally like hacked off the little girl's hair because I was like, okay, the borderline like cultural appropriation braids are gone. Thank you.
But also, it's just like finally there are some repercussions to not following the rules.
Yeah.
Like he cuts
He
off their
saved
hair,
you.
and they're just giving him a hard time all the time and
Yeah.
making rules on his boat.
Yeah, no, it's his boat. But yeah, the other fucking like traitor guy they run into is disgusting.
Yeah. It's just
Fucking skin crawling. I thought his when he has to hunt the giant, the whatever,
the big fish.
the big fish, his hunting method there was interesting, but like, all right, sure, why not?
How did it work? So, all right, so I get the idea of like using yourself as bait, right?
But then
And
he
had
has the harpoon,
double-sided harpoon
so
gun.
you just go.
And that what kept it from closing its mouth?
I think it might have closed his mouth around him, but like, not like bit him in half. Went like,
Yeah, like it tried to swallow him whole, and then that like
or he just killed it as soon as it's like.
how did
jaws.
that kill it? It's so big. You'd have to hit the brain, and that's aiming for, probably something this big,
I mean, again,
the size of a fist in a basically
this scene,
plesiosaur.
by the way,
No, not plesiosaur.
the
mosasaur.
music that was playing here made me like start to expect like a fucking song and dance number. What
Right?
was this soundtrack?
Yeah, some of the music in this was very, very inappropriate.
And some of it was like amazing.
The car they just drive around inside.
Yeah, this is so bizarre. Like, how does that work?
And the cigarettes.
Yeah,
where are they getting
where are you getting
cigarettes?
I mean, here's the thing. If an apocalypse did happen, I'm sure some of the first things we would go back to growing would be like tobacco and cannabis. Because, like, that's the oldest like, tobacco is like the oldest cash crop in the world. So, like, I get it. But where are you getting, like, uniform, filtered, rolled cigarettes?
Can I just say the saddest part of the movie is
This
that
fucking
guy's
guy
death,
who did nothing wrong.
but he's happy about it.
That's so sad.
He's like, "Oh, thank God, finally!" When the
He'll let me die.
oil bursts in a flame.
I thought anchoring the jet skis underwater was pretty fucking cool. Like the fact that they were able to do that.
Yeah, both the real
Yeah.
them doing it, the practical effects of it, and the strategy they employed for that. However, I thought it was really weird to do the puppet thing with the
Yeah,
dead
that was
people.
kind of odd.
And they didn't know that traders speak the weird Portuguese knockoff.
Oh yeah, Portuguese. I was like, okay, fine.
That's what he said. I heard the
guess.
Greek, Portuguese. But yeah, so they greet each other in that language, and they don't respond. But nobody else knows that. They're all on the seas too and run into traders.
Yeah.
There's a trading outpost.
This is
Again, logical inconsistencies. You gotta suspend disbelief.
I thought the DIY diving bell was super cool. And
Oh yeah.
frankly, the underwater city was really cool. The green screen really was not that bad for the time. For 1995,
Very acceptable.
I'll take it.
Yeah. And again, it wasn't like they were doing it for some pivotal scene with big important things like the big boat where the
Yeah,
fights
they
are
were
happening.
just like
No,
showing off
background
something
stuff.
kind of cool.
This is set dressing.
Yeah,
You know, if we CGI in some set dressing back here, who cares?
yeah, that's fine. But just
Keep your eyes out for CGI set dressing. It's just black over there. We can put something up there.
ooh, we should. That would be fun. Invoking Poseidon instead of God. Yeah, all right, that makes sense.
No,
But
it
also,
doesn't.
why would it be Poseidon?
Huh.
Make up your own new fucking sea deity.
Right. So that's why I'm saying no, it doesn't. Like nobody worships Poseidon today.
This is true.
Nobody would start worshiping Poseidon when this happens. So nobody would grow up worshiping Poseidon later on.
Yeah.
There's just things that would not happen.
Yeah, why is he so sensitive about the crayons? Give this man a backstory.
We pray to you, O great SpongeBob. There's the atoll, Bikini Atoll, and said bottom.
fucking, of course they, fucking shoehorn in their romantic subplot. I'll breathe for both of us. I hated it. I hated every single fucking second of it.
And I particularly love that right after the girl is kidnapped, his boat is destroyed, and they're just hanging out on the not sinking, but just kind of like nothing wreck there.
And just like, all right,
we should
fuck
fuck.
now.
Yeah,
this is fine.
This is the time.
Sure.
I didn't want to because you didn't want to earlier. Well, now I do. Yes, now that your
and his
child friend is missing,
his boat is cooked.
and you're just gonna right here.
Right here, right. Yeah, apparently.
Well, I hope you have
Apparently.
horrible, disgusting fish babies.
Yeah. Who let Dennis Hopper near a child?
Like in real life?
Yeah, just like seeing.
He makes me feel like I wouldn't let him alone with my child, but I'd let him be in the room with me and my child.
I mean, yeah, but I would like just seeing him like talk to a child. I was like, ugh.
He's probably perfectly fine, by the way.
I'm sure he was just one of those people who was coked out all the fucking time because.
It just talks to kids like they're, I don't know, fantasy creatures or something. Like the way he talks to them, it's not even how you would talk to a pet.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's infantilizing them.
Yeah. But I was just like, And again, maybe this is just because the first role I ever saw him in was Frank Booth.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, I don't know about that.
Genuinely, the first thing I ever saw him in was Speed, I think.
Oh my god, back when Zach was still on the podcast, we did Speed for one of the streams.
Good movie.
Yeah, that was fun.
Monkey knife fights?
Yeah.
What? Oh no.
I hated the fucking shoehorned romance here. It was so annoying.
We don't need a romance in every movie.
No, we
And
really don't.
For perpetuating that stereotype, I hate you.
Yeah.
This movie was fine without it. When you turned her down earlier, you established that you weren't really overly interested in romance.
But of course he has to change his mind because he's been an adventure. Shut
But
up.
a good woman can change his mind, just like a good man can make a woman want to be a dread housewife.
I hate that.
Sarcasm.
The fucking
Yes, I know.
the fucking sort of Deus Ex Machina of the fucking balloon thing just happening to be right above their wreck.
This whole movie, though, you're on the wide ocean, even today's ocean. That's not how this
We have
works.
a hard fucking time navigating that.
What was the guy? There was a guy who survived on a boat for like 2.5 years or something because a storm happened and it blew their little boat. It was him and one other guy, and they survived by drinking turtle blood and eating uncooked fish. And then the other guy gave up and died, and he threw him overboard. But the one guy made it back to land. It was like 2.5 years later.
That's wild because I also know that in the wreck of the USS Indianapolis, like it took people 4 days to resort to cannibalism because they knew that like nobody was coming because it was like a top secret mission.
Wow.
And just like,
see, I don't get that. Resorting to cannibalism, it's not an efficient. All you're doing, the best thing that cannibalism does is take out a mouth to feed.
the thing is though, like this was actually an episode of Last Podcast on the Left, which was really interesting, and I highly recommend listening to it because they were talking about how like this just sort of like the spiral into madness happened so much quicker because there was no hope of like, oh well, they'll know something's wrong when we don't check in on time or whatever, like when people have gotten like trapped hiking or whatever other stories.
Right.
Like they were just like, no one is fucking coming for us. We are out in the middle of the ocean. We are surrounded by sharks. The water is on fire because the ship went down. And now we just have to live with this knowledge that we're going to die.
Oh.
And like they were found obviously because we know the story, or like some of the survivors were found, but Jesus Christ, what a wild fucking
that's crazy.
piece of history. But the death by jet ski later in this movie, that was rough.
Death by jet ski.
He like goes up the ramp to like Jack Black.
See, he's so covered up that
you can hardly see him.
It makes sense now knowing it, but like, and the lines don't have anything that
Also, girl, why are you drawing now? You're under attack.
She draws what she sees. It's how we establish later when he sees the tree and the horse. He knows that she's really seen those.
Which is the stupidest fucking thing ever because she went down there to get the crayons. She could have just drawn them from the
Yeah,
magazine.
why didn't she try them? Oh. No, but well, that's true. That's true.
Anyway.
And then he claims that he's doing it because she's his friend, but it's only after he sees the drawings that he decides to go save her.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. It's entirely plausible that he really just wanted to find the dry land and then immediately not want to be on it.
Also, I gotta say, you're surrounded by water and everyone's this fucking dirty.
Yeah, and they talk about taking freshwater baths. Like, that's not abnormal, just expensive and
Yeah.
rare. But
Like, I know
saltwater
saltwater
bath.
doesn't necessarily clean you the same. Or, like, there's a weird interaction with, like, soap and salt water. Like, I know that sailors used to have, like, in ye olden times, they would have, like, special soap that would...
But even without soap,
But
you
even
wouldn't have
then,
dirt
you
kicked all over
could
you.
just...
Why are you
get a little
dirty
dirt off.
when dirt is rare?
Yeah.
How are you not washing this, scraping it, and then saving the dirt
Yeah.
to use as money? If you told me that my sweat and skin cells were, I could cash out on those,
Oh, my God.
I would so fast.
Hello? Yeah, but, like, why is everyone so gross? You can at least, like, scrub yourself off a little bit. You're surrounded by water.
Yeah.
How does they call him, like, the fucking deacon or whatever, how does that boat have a working microphone?
Any of this, any of that stuff, and also a giant ass oil tanker, right?
Yeah.
And they row it. They row it, and it's the size of the oars, and the number of them is.
Not sufficient.
And on top of it being a giant ass oil tanker, they have realistically allowed it to have, like 4 feet of like growth.
Yeah, because it would.
After hundreds of years, if it's still floating, it would. But it would be floating so much lower,
Yeah.
and that wouldn't be visible, and it would make it so heavy and unwieldy that thing would have just been drifting at the sea. There's nothing they could have done to
Yeah.
move it.
I thought he was cutting her hair to, like, make it into rope or something.
I
'cause,
actually
like,
thought so too the first time.
you can do stuff with human hair, but he was just being an asshole.
Just a punishment.
Which, like, fine.
And then the little kid gets mad at him because she said, sorry, you're supposed to say something back.
Shut
and then
up.
She's got the crayon. And so now she loses her hair.
And I love how him hacking off her hair with a machete gives her, like, this, like, oh, asymmetric bob.
First of all, it's clearly an oversized kukri.
Sure. Do I look like I know knives?
Well, a bent knife with the blade on the inner edge is a kukri.
Noted. What is the difference between that? Well, no, I guess that's a sword.
And this is
Sim-
even oversized. That's why I said oversized, because
sim-
like a kukri is normally like
So I was thinking about, like, a scimitar.
maybe 8 inches. A scimitar is the curved blade where the front edge is sharpened,
Oh.
and also has the cutout at the top. No, that's a falchion.
Why do you know this?
I play D&D.
Yeah.
Oh.
I also have done a inordinate amount of research on ancient arms and armor and castle building and stuff like that, because when I was allowed to pick the topic when I was younger, every single research project was on,
Sly.
a new castle or a new empire.
I feel that. I gotta say, the full ship explosion shot when he, like, drops the flare down into the oil tank, that was cool as fuck.
It shoots the oars out. They like go.
Yes, that's
they go
exactly how that
flying,
would happen.
And that's realistic. Yeah.
The fact that you had to put effort into your schluck, and I love to see it.
Yeah.
The DIY zipline was cool.
Impractical.
Impractical, but again, it's an action movie. I'll let them have it. It was fun to watch.
And he zipped down faster than the plane was accelerating to take off, and it was already in front of him. So then he gets down to the bottom and stops with his feet against like the pillar and didn't shatter his shins.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, when he does, like, the fucking bungee jump from the...
I did that.
That's bullshit. That
Gotta
would
write
not-
that one off right away. Oh, I almost want to fast forward.
You can do it. It's
I just-
nasty. I don't want to see it.
It's creepy trade guy. We're not gonna do creepy trade.
Will
guy.
there be a week where I don't make a disgusting gagging sound on this podcast? Probably not.
You pick movies too, so don't pick a movie you won't gag at.
I mean, that's the thing is, there are plenty of movies that I love with my whole heart that have a gross gag-worthy moment.
Yeah, that's unfortunate,
the
but it's
bitch of
true.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the fucking bungee jump thing, that would not work. That was BS. Did like the 3-way jet ski collision. That was cool.
But it was so stupid.
It was stupid, but it was fun to watch.
If the little kid had been there, they still would have done that.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest thing I've... Like, it's not like he tricked them into doing it.
Mm-hmm.
They were converging on that spot anyway to get the little girl.
Yeah. I don't know. But in the end, land is real. Isn't that magical?
Oh, it's so magical. It's also, like I said, 100% going to be true.
Yeah.
There is no way that there's enough water on this planet to completely cover all land.
And I know that they shot that in Hawaii, I believe.
I believe so.
It was fucking beautiful.
That was a gorgeous little island that they found.
So, like, that was super cool. Although I will say, it implies that some of the only surviving land is, like, Japan. Because they because the writing that they find with, like, the skeletons is, like, kanji characters, I believe. So why is the little girl white?
Oh, that part, again, who knows?
Oh my god, you can't just ask people why they're white.
Yeah, right? Yeah. There's a clip. You can't just ask people why they're white. Yeah, no, it's a weird thing.
It's a very weird thing.
Establish.
Also, the creepy trader, he was talking about, like, what the fuck would be the value of paper in this world?
Well, just proof that other things exist. It's the same reason any of the relics he gets are worth money.
I suppose, but I feel
Why
like
does he
that
have
would...
crayons? A music box.
I feel like that would just be such a ridiculous thing to place any value on, because, like, it's so susceptible to water damage.
Yeah.
Oh, and this fucking thing, like, oh, it's a loan. Shut up. You have done no work into your character development, and you're just...
Like, this is the most growth we've seen in him, is him going, all right, fine. Last time she was holding a crayon, I cut her hair off, but this time she can have it
but it's a
to
loan.
borrow. Yeah.
Which, like, fair enough. But, again, if you want to have these moments, put the work into them.
And what does the kid think of them as a
Why is she drawing
family?
them as a family? You have put no work into creating these relationships. That is a thing that genuinely bothers me a lot in movies, is when people just, they give themselves a moment that they haven't earned.
Hey Boots claims he has and uses waterproof paper.
Oh, there is such a thing, yeah, waterproof paper. But
Oh, no shit, that's cool.
yeah, they use it on boats, but
Makes sense.
the standard paper, like the stuff they're looking at, is not. Gonna
Yeah.
be. Like, and they do a good job later when all the paper. Here's a thing that he knows not to do: take the paper out of the water.
Yeah.
Because it'll deteriorate faster from
Yeah.
being wet when you pull it out of the water. You leave it in the water, you can unfold it and look at it and stuff, and it's going to be all right. And he knows that, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Also, he shouldn't care about paper since he had a whole National Geographic.
Yeah.
Why does he care about 2 pieces of paper? He was trading a woman. No. No. We're not gonna talk about it. No. But paper shouldn't be special to him, which again establishes he's a shitty person.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't even a special trade.
Yeah.
For
This
the
is all
special.
just, ugh. It's messy. Again, I was so impressed by...
Kevin Costner looks like an awesome person around kids.
This must have been a fucking blast to shoot.
I wonder if she was really learning to swim.
Probably not.
Probably not, but it would be really funny to know that, you know, you helped her learn to swim for this role.
But God, I would have been having a fun time as, like, an extra or whatever.
Yeah.
I would have been having a blast.
Boy number 7, you know.
Fuck it. Let's see. I think that kind of covers everything that I wound up writing down.
I had one other thing written down. Well, I had a few things written down about different people.
If we've glossed over anything, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah. There was some better known stuff that was, you know, that I was looking at where Leonard Cimino played, Cimino played one of the elders. He also played the Baron's doctor in
I'm pulling
the
the
1984
IMDb
Dune.
trivia back up. Oh!
And the scary German guy in Monster Squad.
Okay, here's a hot take
nice.
about the
Yeah.
1984 Dune. It's not nearly as unwatchable as some people make it out to be. There's some really fucking cool concepts there, and I understand why why it wound up being the mess that it was, because they didn't give the director full creative control.
Now, I'm a huge sci-fi nerd, and I'm going to blow your mind right now. I have neither seen nor read anything about Dune.
I
in
have
any
read
capacity.
all of the Frank Herbert Dune. Even
It's not that I don't want to. It's just that I've never like sat down and done it.
I would recommend it, although I will say after God Emperor, it becomes more and more thinly veiled philosophy lessons and the author's breeding kink. So there's that.
Right. Yes, I've heard that part. That it's definitely a breeding kink. Yeah, the only other thing I had when I was looking through the people is the astonishing number of people. Did you see? 15. 15 people had roles in
Murder, She Wrote!
15!
Wow.
Jesus Christ, that's a new record.
15!
Yeah, I think the
Yeah, that's
previous
nuts.
record was
Jesus!
7 or 8. No, I think we did it 10 once.
I was blasted by that. I was like, how the fuck? Ugh. Well, there's a lot of elders. That's why.
Yeah.
There's a lot of old people in the movie. I forgot about that. Like, that's the whole thing is the...
Yeah, I gotta say, none of the trivia I thought
Oh, the reverse periscope, by the way, was
like
kind of cool.
was really all that interesting. Again, it was all just like, yeah, this cost a lot, which like, no shit. You filmed a movie out at sea.
Up until this point, movie budgets were getting bigger and bigger, and producers and directors were apologizing for it. They did not apologize for this. They said, money.
I mean, again, like, I do get it. You're doing a lot.
You know what? I'm going to go back up to a 5 on the what it did for film score for them unapologetically spending infinite dollars.
Sometimes I think that is a good decision. Like, I think if you are...
Although, did that actually hurt the film industry? Now we get less small, low budget.
I think that is a
Experimental
double-edged
films.
sword.
Yeah.
Because...
We get less schlock,
We get less schlock.
but we also get less creative masterpieces.
Because there are things where you should spare no expense.
Right.
Like, I cannot imagine...
Oh, this
Like...
stupid.
Yeah, this is dumb as shit. But, like, a Wizard of Oz constrained by budget,
Right.
like, you don't get that. You simply do not get that movie if
It
that's
just
something
doesn't
that you're
happen.
worried about.
Right.
So, like, yeah, it's a double-edged sword. Like, yeah, things are going up and becoming infinitely more expensive, and that's probably not a good thing, but there are also things where you should 100%
You need
spare
to
no
spend the money,
expense.
right? Do you know the great example of where you go in the other direction is Life of Pi.
Yeah.
They spent infinite dollars, bankrupted the CGI studio. The movie did terrible, and I think the production studio bankrupted too.
Yeah.
And all for just not a good movie.
Yeah, it's not that great.
It's like not impressive. You just ruined a bunch of people's lives for nothing.
Yeah. So, there's that, essentially.
So what do we have going on? Or, oh, I'm sorry, did you still have more about this? What does that do? Is that what you were going to say?
I figured that, I assumed that was like, oh, there's a giant tear in my sail, back up, and I really need to get out of this situation. I can just whoosh with the kite, but
Use it as a kite? I just don't know that the kite would work.
I mean, probably not, but like, whatever.
Doesn't seem super helpful or functional. Yeah, so that's really all I have about Waterworld. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you have going on this week?
Well, we've got Fighting with Friends tomorrow, and also, just because things have been hectic, episode 175 that we did with True Crime Garage is going to be available on like YouTube, Spotify, all that, for your viewing pleasure if you missed that stream tomorrow. Instead of it should have been out on last Friday, but things are a mess. So I've been getting things back on track, so keep an eye out for that. We're streaming tomorrow night again for Fighting with Friends. That's Fighting with Friends here on the Big Dumb Monsters Twitch channel, and then Thursday night, yes, that's still a gaming stream. Thursday night we're doing a little bit more Fallout 4 on the Fighting with Friends podcast Twitch channel. That's just our stream
Right.
of just game time and chatting.
Thursday night we're doing the live playthrough one shot of Jay Moore's Fae.
Ooh,
tabletop
fun.
RPG
So
on this channel.
you've got options for Thursday.
That's
If you
okay. Our stuff gets saved on YouTube, on Twitch, and
If you want tabletop games, you got it. If you want video games, you got it.
Yep.
Take your choice.
get your content wherever you want it.
And I will
that's
mention
really it,
Friday the Big Dumb Monsters summer camp book club starts.
Hell yes.
They're doing Carrie and Carrie.
Yeah, hosted by
Nice.
Amanda with special guest Nightmare Christie.
Have you heard about the summer camp?
That's new.
Okay, so Chris's wife Amanda is doing a book club where
yes.
they read a book and watch a movie based on the book and then talk about it.
I like it. I have
So it's Carrie and Carrie.
read the book. I have not seen the movie.
Of Carrie?
I have not. No.
Not the original or its sequels or the remake or the remake.
No.
There's 3 versions of Carrie
I've
and
seen
a
the
book.
I've seen the musical version though.
There's a musical?
Yeah.
There's 4 versions of Carrie.
They put the musical on at my college theater department once. Surprisingly fucking good. And also the book. That's a great book. I like that book.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read that one. But
Oh my god, one of the funniest fucking Twitter interactions that I've ever seen was some fucking turf, because like Hunter Schiffer, a trans actress, was like playing Carrie in like the new,
oh, okay.
like the most recent remake or whatever, and some fucking turf was like, oh, like Hunter Schafer playing like, this like pubescent female character is like, it's Robin, like, it's such a like deeply female story, and the response to the tweet was, real quick, who wrote Carrie?
I mean, it's fine that it was written by a man, but it is about pubescent girls.
I know. I just think it's so funny that they're like, oh, the casting of a trans woman in this story.
Oh, you're putting me in a real bad spot here because I'm super open to everything, but this is a spot where I have to stand with, you're casting a character whose main thing is that when she starts to menstruate, she realizes she has telekinetic powers. A trans woman, who I recognize as a woman, can't menstruate.
But the thing is, that has nothing to do with, like, they're not being like, oh, like,
It's the hormonal changes that set off the telekinesis.
yes, but like Hunter Schafer being a trans actress is like, it is not part of it. They're just like, this is just the actress who's playing Carrie.
Okay, so the whole menstruation thing still happens. and
Yeah,
everything.
it's
then who
all
cares?
still part of it.
Oh, I don't care.
But then they were,
That's
but
fine.
it's like, oh, it's such a deeply feminine story. I was like, real quick, who wrote Carrie?
Yeah, the coming-of-age female story written by a middle-aged man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shut up. Leave
Is
trans
that the
people
one that-
alone.
Is Carrie the one he wrote under a pseudonym? Because people are like, nobody would buy your books if they didn't have your name on them. No. One of his very popular books,
I
he
know
wrote under a pseudonym.
that the first draft of Carrie he like chucked in the trash because he was like, oh, this is garbage, this isn't gonna go anywhere, and his wife made him fish it out and publish it.
That's funny. Yeah, so it probably wasn't Carrie. I don't remember which Stephen King one it was, but yeah, he was getting crap from people like, oh, nobody would buy your books if it didn't have your name on it. So he did a book under a pseudonym. It sold out like crazy, and then he was like, yeah, I'll take my infinite dollars and write 3 books a year.
Here is my hot take. I know a lot of people have
Product placement. Pepsi can.
the product placement in this movie was like really fucking blatant, which I thought was super odd for a science fiction movie.
Especially post-apocalyptic one in which none of those
Yeah.
products actually can exist.
Yeah, no.
I love this.
I know a lot of people have fucking beef with Stephen King and are like, oh, he was just like, he writes the same shit, like, or like,
People like it. Why would he write it different?
I have never disliked any single Stephen King book that I have read. First of all, some are better than others.
Yeah.
And sometimes he really fucking does fumble the endings. But one, he would not still be fucking doing this if he wanted to just make money.
Right.
He literally writes like he needs it to survive.
I genuinely think there's a demonic contract unrelated to the books are how he pays the contract.
Yeah. And also, he's so compulsively fucking readable.
Yeah.
Like, I read it when I was in college,
Mm.
and I just remember, like, it was so readable that I forgot to be intimidated by how fucking long of a book it is. Because
Right.
I would just like, again, so like fucking compulsively readable. I would sit down and be like, oh shit, page 600.
Yeah.
Like, when did that happen?
That happened to me with a book once where it was just so massive, and at first I didn't want to crack it open, and then it read so easily that I was just moving through, and it was written so well that my dad got it in a sci-fi fantasy book club, and it was the third book in a trilogy. It was not clear to me. Some things felt a little bit weird. I was like, I feel like I should know more about this character. That's written like I should know that, but it was still written well enough that I was able to read the whole book and
That is a
not,
fucking feat.
yeah. It's Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn by Tad Williams.
Noted.
Yeah, I have the books.
Actually,
They're
I
so
think
good.
it might be the longest book I have finished.
It.
Yeah, by Stephen King. I got like 800 pages into War and Peace, and then I was like, oh.
Oh man.
And I really want to attempt that again, but like have an actual plan this time and be like, I'll read this many pages per week and maybe like Google a couple of things of like historical context to
I feel like I'm gonna
help
have to do that.
myself out here.
I think I'm gonna have to do that to get through Lord of the Rings, because I've tried to read Lord of the Rings so many times and just been like, yeah, I'm just gonna close this up.
The only Tolkien I've ever read was The Hobbit.
Oh, Hobbit is a 10 out of 10.
And fucking loved it.
Changed nothing. You know,
Oh, 100%.
Lord of the Rings books are drier than Ben Shapiro's wife.
Yeah. Hey, we both got one in this episode. Nicely done. Do we have anything else that we feel is relevant?
Oh, not to this, not to anything. We were mostly just bullshitting about what we got going on at this point.
Absolutely love it. I'm gonna look at what is in my Letterboxd watch list that falls into the science fiction
That's right.
category.
Yes, let's pick a movie.
What do we have going on? Hold up.
Anything interesting happening in the chat? Oh, is Ryan watching?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's the best man at my wedding.
Aw, that's so sweet.
He doesn't always have time. He's got kids. He's got a lot of shit in the evenings. So,
As one does.
whoop whoop.
Come on. Let me sort by genre. Science fiction. How pretentious do we want to get?
Just know that makes it seem like it's going to be like a serious note, and I will not be taking it seriously. So it's totally fine as long as
Okay.
it's okay for me to shit on it if it sucks.
Keeping that in mind.
Because if it's going to be like a 10 out of 10 for what it did for film, but a 1 out of 10 for watchability,
You're allowed to say that.
I'm going to talk about it.
You are allowed to say that.
I'm going to talk about those mistakes. Listen, we watched The Wolfman, and I had a hard time. And I love werewolf movies. And I was just like, God damn, I'm going to say it. Benicio del Toro made a better Wolfman.
Interesting.
It's just so dry. It's such a bad movie for watchability. But it's a 10 out of 10 for what it does for werewolf cinema.
I'm also trying to figure out which of the things that I have on my watch list would be the least pain in the ass to find.
My dad's just going to get it for me. So
Fair enough. No.
that's how I get all my movies.
All right.
Yar.
Can I sort by genre and also by highest weighted rating? Please come through for me, Letterboxd. Yes, I can. Oh, Letterboxd is the better IMDb. That's my hot take. Highest average rating. What do we got? That's surprising. Didn't expect that to be up there.
Lay it on me, pick one. What do we got?
How about we watch Solaris, Andrei Tarkovsky?
Ooh, I have actually wanted to watch that. I haven't seen it yet.
All right, yeah, let's fucking do Solaris.
Solaris.
We're gonna
okay.
get a little bit artsy up in this bitch.
Yeah, it looks very artsy. That's the one where we'll talk about it.
Well, here, do you want,
Synopsis me.
So, Solaris in Russian, Solyaris, a psychologist is sent to a space station orbiting a planet called Solaris to investigate the death of a doctor and the mental problems of cosmonauts on the station. He soon discovers that the water on the planet is a type of brain which brings out repressed memories and obsessions.
I may have seen this. I know I wanted to see it. So cool, awesome. Solaris. So tune in 2 weeks from today
For some
for
fucking
Solaris.
Soviet cinema, baby.
We knew you were gonna pick one sometime soon.
That's not the only Soviet science fiction film that's on my watch list, but I will space them out for your sake.
That's okay. I feel like that's the one type of Soviet film that's the least objectionable. Like, I don't want to watch a Soviet drama, probably. I don't want to watch a Soviet comedy, probably.
Oh my god. So, when I was in college and I was taking Russian classes, we used our final exam slot to watch a movie because we had finished all, like, the class was so fucking small because nobody at my school was taking Russian except me and a couple other kids. So we, like, got through all of the coursework really quickly, and we, like, used our technical, what was supposed to be our last day of class to make, or to take our final exam. And then for our final exam slot, my Russian professor made homemade borscht, brought it in for us, and brought in this old Soviet comedy called, I think it's Ivan Vasilievich Changes Careers, and it was so fucking funny.
Maybe if you're into that.
And it was like, it was one of those movies where I watch it and I was like, oh, if I had like grown up watching this, nobody would be able to say fucking shit about this to me. Like, do you ever have that experience where you watch something and you know that it's like, it's really corny, it's goofy, it's whatever, but if this had been like a childhood staple of yours, you wouldn't let anybody say shit.
Yeah, there's definitely movies where you go back and you're like, this does not stand the test of time. I'm allowed to say that. You don't say shit about it.
And when I was watching this, I was like, if I had been like some little Russian kid who had like been shown this by my parents a bunch of times, you would not be able to tell me anything negative about this.
Yeah. Just wash right over me. I don't take it. That judgment doesn't matter to me. Yeah.
Anyway.
So that's what we've got going on. Solaris in 2 weeks. All the stuff we have got going on this week.
Yes. Fresh podcast episode available for your watching and listening pleasure on Spotify, YouTube, etc. Because our channel at the very least is not Twitch affiliates yet.
Womp womp.
We're trying.
You'll get there.
Fingers crossed.
Or we'll just keep the unholy matrimony going, and
I mean, I'm very here for it. I love it. But yeah.
It's also nice to have your own, yeah.
That's why we do our stream on our channel, just not to clog up on everything.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And also sometimes we just do shit randomly. There have been days where I've just been like, hey, I think I'm going to stream Fallout. Do you want to like jump on the Discord? And she's like, yeah, okay.
Oh, man, you know what we didn't do? We didn't find words of wisdom. No, wait, we did.
Don't shake alien eggs. Leave them alone.
Yeah. I don't remember what the other part of that is. Is that it? Is that all it was? I thought there were two things. Damn, I got to write this shit down.
Were there?
I don't know. My brain is melting.
We gotta,
don't shake alien eggs.
Yeah,
we said
don't shake alien eggs. We gotta start writing things down.
Bye.
Adios.